Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we look at Overly Sarcastic Productions' Miscellaneous Myth. This is going to be Hercules. Now, I do know this partially because of Disney, because, Disney's Hercules, and Fake Grand Order. So, I guess we're moving into what has now become a recurring segment. FGO was right. Maybe this will be the one where they're completely wrong, but usually they seem to be making things weird by going into lore and then just gender bending things, as opposed to getting the actual details wrong and taking account of them to interpret it into ways visually into the characters that are accurate in ways most people, me, never knew about or even thought were accurate, thought were just, hey, cat ears. I'm looking at you, Atalanta. So yeah, let's just go see how much FGO got right about this, because it's either a lot or nothing, and so far, there's been no in between, because it's always been a lot, and I'm still kind of having my mind blown about that. Otherwise, you guys know the detail. Link below. Original video. Hit it up. It's Overly Sarcastic Productions. You know it's going to be good. Let's get started. Oh, and if I still sound a little froggy, it's because I still feel like shit, but this is a nice distraction. I'm going to keep doing it. Let's get started.
Well, what's the point of me doing this one? Everyone already knows Hercules.
I mean,
he's basically ancient Greek Superman with a healthy dose of modern sports stardom.
He's like the equivalent of Irish Cuchulainn, but Greek.
Right? Did 12 cool things, got the girl, called it a day. Couldn't be simpler. Well, no. Hercules.
Yeah, because his lore is he did 12 good things, got the girl, and then I thought the 12 things came after getting the girl and Hera having him kill the girl, right? I could be wrong about the order.
Hercules is a lot of things, but simple is not one of them. First of all, Hercules is the Roman hero. Heracles is the original Greek.
That makes sense. There's more hard K's in Greek. Also, wow, they gave him, I don't even know what that muscle is. Love handles of steel.
Named for the glory of Hera and an ineffectual attempt to keep her from trying to murder him. Unsurprisingly, they are pretty distinct. Second of all,
It actually
remember
was?
this word? I've talked about how hubris was the most common character flaw for Greek heroes. They think too highly of themselves, try to be gods, and end up getting smacked down for their sins. So far, we've only seen one major subversion of this, which was Perseus, who basically didn't have any flaws. But Heracles is also a subversion because his biggest flaw is wrath. How unexpectedly modern, right? Well, Heracles begins his life, as so many heroes do, with Zeus spotting a fine-looking lady, this one by the name of Alcmene.
The old-fashioned joke of Greek mythology without Zeus is much smaller. Yeah. Hi there, pretty lady. Who is my wife? Hi, weird. A weirdo? Wait, he actually married them? What?
He begins his life, as so many heroes do, with Zeus spotting a fine-looking lady, this one by the name of Alcmene. Zeus does his thing and shapeshifts into her husband, Amphitryon, and gets her pregnant. The very same night, her actual husband scoots on by and does...
Hello. Hello, pretty lady who is also my wife. You are weird today. She didn't even notice. Also, I love the face. She's going like, I don't get what's going on, but I'm kind of into it. That's every time my wife talks to me. Not the into it part, just the I don't know what's going on because I'm weird. I get that.
Does the same thing. That's right. Today's first plot twist is that Heracles had a twin. So Hera is livid, as she always is when Zeus pulls this kind of...
I don't know why. And it's probably the tiara on her. But for some reason, the way Red drew Hera makes her look like a 80s dance mom. That's where I'm going with this one. I know it's weird, but look at this and tell me it doesn't look like someone in the 80s who just went to a jazzercise class and said that word unironically. Zeus, it's cool. She didn't know it was me. That actually makes it less cool. Yeah.
Nonsense. But this time she's extra miffed and starts trying to take as many petty revenges on the babies she can possibly think of. Priority 1 is screwing Heracles out of his birthright. So the night Heracles and his twin are slated to be born,
I have a great
Heracles
idea.
Zeus to make the next descendant of Perseus to be born the king. Now Alcmene is one of Perseus' descendants.
Perseus and Andromeda. Oh, wow. So Hercules was a descendant of Perseus. I was actually not even aware of that in the slightest. Neat.
Meaning Heracles is slated to be the next descendant of Perseus, so Zeus is totally okay with the idea, whereupon Hera zips down and kidnaps Alethea, the goddess of childbirth, to keep Heracles and his brother right where they are until the day is done. Then she...
Okay, I'm not even surprised they ever got a childbirth, but they kidnap someone to force a baby not to be pregnant? You know what? I've actually heard that in a few other mythologies. It's not that weird. But actually, it's not even mythologies. They did that in One Piece too. Huh. Apparently that's a modern trope as well. Also, oh hey, it's been a while, honey.
And kidnaps Alethea, the goddess of childbirth, to keep Heracles
Ooh, unfortunate. This should be working, right?
and his brother right where they are until the day is done. Then she causes Heracles' cousin Eurystheus to be born prematurely, so he gets to be the king instead. Fortunately, Alcmene gets to give birth
Oh, uh-oh. Oh, the baby's totally being born anyway. What? Impossible! And then she just zips away.
Eventually, because one of her servants tricks Alethea into bailing, whereupon Hera turns the servant into a weasel as revenge. The family still keeps her around, though, which is nice. Anyway, Alcmene is acutely aware of the fact that...
And they even left the weasel down there. Oh my god. All right, somehow, I know this is your fault. And she's just looking directly at the weasel.
The baby is already a problem for her and will probably only cause more problems later on, so she kicks him out. Whereupon Athena scoops him up and
Wait, Athena did it? Sorry, I'm no good with babies. Virgin goddess and all that. Aw. Wait, what?
Already a problem for her and will probably only cause more problems later on, so she kicks him out. Whereupon Athena scoops him up and ferries him over to Hera, telling her that someone left this poor baby just lying around. Whereupon Hera pities the little guy and nurses him a bit. Unfortunately, Heracles is a toothy baby and boob noms a little too hard. Hera chucks him because ow, but the damage is done because...
On the one hand, she offered. On the other hand, there have been very many awkward conversations among family members who decide any time is the appropriate time to talk about their kids and things that I'm not comfortable with. So this entire segment right here, way too many flashbacks, man. I have never beat a tactical retreat so fast as the second time they brought it up. I was not sure what they were talking about the first time, and then I was just too embarrassed to leave. The second time, I knew better. Why does that still come up in conversation? I don't know, but it's just, why? Why?
Because her magic milk has given him superpowers, making him crazy strong. Athena takes
oh god, that was actually her?
His parents and they...
I think you dropped this. Please don't do that again. Oh my god. Also, yeah, she was talking to the Heracles, not the weasel.
He raised him pretty uneventfully, except for that one time with the snakes. So prior to the 12
I actually don't know that one.
Heracles' story is a little muddled, which is pretty common for
it's literally Hera's fault.
More
than Zeus's even.
The highlight is one time teenage Heracles gets pissy because he's having trouble learning to play the lyre and ends up killing his teacher as a result. Then a while later, he ends up in Thebes, where he courts and marries Megara, the daughter of King Creon. They have two beautiful children, whereupon Hera drives Heracles crazy and he kills all three of them. He gets...
Yeah, that part I knew about. More of the things here? All right, from the top, and this time, don't let your thick fingers strip you up. Oh, yeah, thick fingers. I can see why he was killed. And Megara was actually the one that he married. So that was actually Disney being right and ignoring the fact that it wasn't deal with Hades. It was Hera being an asshole.
King Creon. They have two beautiful children, whereupon Hera drives Heracles crazy and he kills all three of them. He gets his brain back, is immediately stricken with grief, and goes to consult the oracle about what he should do to...
Go work for your asshole cousin. You gotta be a lot more specific. Are we talking like physical cousins or holy, or I guess not holy, godly cousins? Because frankly, if you're going the godly side, there is way too many to count at that point. Yeah. And that's why Ilya in Fate Grand Order was a big sticking point for Heracles, because he was a little kid and he killed his. Yep, that's one more point on the FGO was right board. I should probably put up a counter, but it might be depressing.
To atone. The Oracle, guided by Hera, tells him he needs to atone for his crimes by serving his cousin, King Eurystheus, for 10 years and doing whatever he tells him.
Only 10 years?
This is all part of her cunning plan to access...
Ah, he's so dead. You know this never works, right? Yeah, because even the gods aren't listening to the Oracle on this one. I know that probably didn't happen in reality, or I guess mythology, but I'm okay with it. Especially since, yeah, jazzercise Hera.
Accidentally make Heracles the most famous and revered Greek hero.
I just realized why she looks like she's an 80s jazzercise mom. She's literally a Karen. They literally drew her as a Karen. Can we pretend I realized that faster? I'd appreciate it, thanks.
Ever, because nobody ever just kills anybody in these stories. So this leads to the famous...
Well, I mean, except for the one time they killed the entire family because, you know, someone pissed off Aphrodite. Note to self, Aphrodite is the only one who gets revenge effectively. Everyone else kind of whiffles and waffles unless they do it very well, really fast.
It's 12 labors, or rather 10 plus a couple extra. Initially, Eurystheus gives him 10 labors, but 2 of them get discounted for shenanigans. Number 1 is to kill the Nemean lion, known for being immune to all mortal weapons and having...
But that was taken before he got there.
Strapped to a ceiling fan. Heracles ends up strangling
or
it
he did.
with one of its own claws.
Oh, no, I was thinking of the boar. Also, what was that?
Normal disposition of a chainsaw strapped to a ceiling fan. Heracles ends up strangling...
Great, what's next? He's just wearing it, and the guy's just shouting.
it and skinning it with one of its own claws. Mission number 2 is killing the Lernaean Hydra, for which Heracles conscripts his half-nephew and sometimes lover, Iolaus, for moral support. That happened a lot in ancient Greece.
Half-nephew and lover. There are things to unpack here. And the fact that Red said that it just happens a lot. I'm not surprised. I know enough of Greek stuff that it does depend where you're at. Some places more than others. Sparta, I'm looking at you. But the nephew part. I mean, it's not even like it's that far removed where going after your siblings is that odd. No, it still is. I was thinking cousins. Nephew still makes that weirder. It's sibling's kid. Yeah, no, this is still weird. I was thinking of Edgar Allan Poe, who married his cousin, but no, that's a level of weird. And then nephew is just, it's actually weirder than sibling now that I think about it. Was Greek history was basically Alabama of Europe. I hate everything I just said, and I can't say I'm entirely wrong based on some precedents. I'm going to cut this out, not because I'm wrong, and because, actually explicitly because this is disturbing me. I don't know how to deal with this, and it's freaking me out a bit.
Greece, don't question it. Anyway, after learning that cutting off the heads just causes more heads to grow back, Iolaus suggests using fire to burn the neck stumps.
Shit.
Well. Before they leave, Heracles takes some poisonous hydro blood.
This will never come back to bite me. Well, I mean, you already fucked up the entire family thing, so it can't be any worse than what already happened. I say, having no idea what actually happened. I'm sure it won't be that bad.
And coats his arrows with it. Because why not, right? With that out of the way, Heracles returns home, but Eurystheus is all...
Also, as someone who's played D&D, dipping your projectile weapons into horrible substances that may or may not have been reanimation contingents to reanimate the boss, you had to fight 3 waves instead of 2. I've never experienced a moment where that would ever go badly. Yeah. The DM knew about this myth in advance, huh? He was planning this. I'm going to have to remind him that we actually appreciate it. It was a really fun session, but I'm not going to pretend that was the case.
Hey, you got help for that one, dude. Doesn't count.
Yeah.
And adds another trial for
Wibbly.
later. So trial number 3 is to capture, alive this time, the Ceryneian hind, a deer sacred to Artemis. Eurystheus' cunning plan here is to have Heracles offend Artemis and get her to kill him. But as soon as Heracles explains what's up with his trial...
Can I borrow that? Sure. Wow, he just asked? Also, I love the just sheer outrage face down here. Oh my god. Seriously, her meme faces, when Red does them, are absolutely amazing. I want to see that again.
Eurystheus' cunning plan here is to have Heracles offend Artemis and get her to kill him. But as soon as Heracles explains what's up with his trials and such, Artemis is like, yeah, dude, go for it. Just bring her back when you're done. So Heracles brings the hind to Eurystheus, but Eurystheus is too slow to actually catch it, and it zorps back to Artemis no problem. Mission accomplished. Mission 4 is to capture the Arithmanian.
Go fight a pig! To be fair, out of all the animals he's faced, pigs are the most terrifying. If you know that it's only right that they are food. They hate everything. They want to destroy everything. You included. They're cute! And then they become the spawns of evil. I'm not biased at all here.
Boar, but Heracles gets distracted along the way and parties it up with a centaur friend for a while instead. Unfortunately...
I'm sorry, what? It's like a pig.
Boar, but Heracles gets...
Just kidding! Let's go get smashed with a man horse. Man horse. I misread that at first. And considering previous statements, that might have been an accurate misreading.
Distracted along the way and parties it up with a centaur friend for a while instead. Unfortunately, centaurs...
Hey man, dilute that. I'll dilute you! Oh, jeez.
Apparently don't know that Greek wine needs to be watered down before it's drinkable, so they all get super drunk and then start trying to pick...
Really? Like they intentionally watered it down? Is that like a potency thing? Do they still make it that way, or... I'm actually really curious about that.
Fights. Heracles drives him off with his...
Oh yeah, the poisoned arrows. Also, were they basically making Greek moonshine? This is not helping the comparisons to Alabama. Stop, Red. No, stop me. Stop Airier.
Poison arrows, but his centaur buddy accidentally drops one on his foot and dies. Well, that was kind of pointless. Anyway, after that fiasco, Heracles visits the immortal centaur Chiron for advice, who tells him that the boar is impossible to stop while charging, so he needs to drive him into the snow to immobilize him and then carry him off.
So wouldn't the best solution just be to turn him upside down so he falls or crashes into something? Huh. Also, he just literally Where do they have? There's mountains in Greece. Yep.
that the boar is impossible to stop while charging, so he needs to drive
Momentum
him into the
works.
snow to immobilize
Yes.
him
Excellent
and then
start.
carry him off. So Heracles does and brings the boar back to Eurystheus, who immediately freaks out and makes him release it back into the wild.
Yep.
Mission number 5 is to clean the stable.
Okay, go clean Aegeus' stables? Can do. Honestly, regular stables are terrifying. The fact that he's okay with this, even in red drawing, is absolutely impressive. I don't get why he's being so anti-hero here. Or not anti-hero, but against the hero. There's really no stated reason. On the other hand, it's probably just, God asked you to do something, and if you don't, I will remember. And all the others, Red has talked about why the kings have, in some cases, incredibly dumb reasons to give challenges, but yeah. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's so many challenge king stories. I wonder if they were all based around the same hero and just morphed over time to different tellings, and they were initially all the same challenge series. Again, this is just me doing something I do every time Red talks about mythology, wondering what the initiating story was for everything and how maybe they morphed and how they cross-pollinated different stories to get different types of results. I wish there was a way to talk about this. Maybe they did a diatribe.
Filthy. So Heracles first gets the guy to promise him 10% of his prize cattle if he manages to pull it off. Then
10%? Also, what the... So, if I make this work, 10% sounds good, sure, whatever. Dude, that is a lot of dung. Like, that's a building right there, that's the roof, and that is all the way up. I'm just going to pretend that Red decided to make it that bad because it wasn't actually that bad, but it was more funny this way. And if anyone tries to correct me, I'm going to ignore that comment.
off, then diverts 2 rivers through the stables and cleans them out super
Damn.
efficiently, surprisingly not demolishing the building in the process.
Oh, I can't believe that
Augeas is a sore
worked.
loser
Oh, whatever, I'm keeping my cows. What? You didn't clean it out by hand, the river did.
and refuses to pay up, so Heracles and Augeas' son Phileus take him to court.
Seriously?
He sidesteps all that legal nonsense by banishing them both, because
They actually had a court that he could take them to? Were they in Athens? Because I know Athens had a legal system, but I thought the other ones were, I'm in charge, fuck you. Which is what happened here, but, he still got brought to court. I'm kind of surprised they had legal dramas. I thought that was reserved for more Finnish and Nordic myths. No, Greenland myths are the ones that have a lot of the legal drama.
he is the king. And then Eurystheus refuses to credit the trial because Heracles did it for pay, even though he didn't get paid. Heracles gets pretty pissed and
Dick.
kicks Augeas out of the kingdom and makes his son Phileus the king, then takes his cows and goes home. Mission number 6 is to
He literally just didn't kill him, though.
kicks
Dude,
Augeas out of the kingdom and makes his son Phileus the king, then takes
have fun being king. And remember, I will kill your father if you want me to. Oh, God.
his
That's
cows and
probably
goes home.
actually a
Mission
thing.
number 6 is to drive out the Stymphalian birds from the swamp they
Ooh.
live in, which he does with a little divine help. Athena has Hephaestus make him a special
Rattle, 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 rattle. He literally scared the birds with sounds. I mean, yeah, it works, but damn. Who's giving him the quest now, though? Or is it just his... I guess the sun's doing it because it was still something offered by a god? I guess, sure.
rattle to frighten the birds into the air, whereupon Heracles is free to shoot them down.
Oh.
Trial 7 is to capture the
Moo.
Cretan bull, mostly known for being the father of the Minotaur. Ew. So Heracles wanders into Crete.
Yeah, I'm going with red on this one. Ew. Also, I'm sure there's... Yeah, it exists online now. I regret everything. Sometimes Google searches, man, in the old days were really weird. For example, puppies used to be a dangerous search. I was 12. I was not expecting that. Yeah. Can I take your cow-in-law? Yeah, just don't go in the basement. Junior's cranky. Oh, yeah, the Minotaur.
And asks Minos if he can take the bull, which Minos is fine with, since that stupid bull has done nothing but wreck stuff ever since it got there. So Heracles picks him up and brings him
Handsome
back.
fellow,
whereupon
isn't
the bull
he?
breaks loose and wanders around Marathon for a while before dropping out of the story completely. Trial
Oh.
8 involves capturing the mares of Diomedes, which is complicated by the fact that the mares mostly eat people, and they're very hard to control.
The fuck? Mainland, dug out by our hero to make it an island. People eating horses. Can I just go back and say this is probably one of the most metal pictures Red has ever drawn? Look at this thing and tell me this is not like horse velociraptor energy right now. It is absolutely metal and I kind of love it, especially the ee going at the top. This is kind of awesome.
fact that the mares mostly eat people and they're very hard to control. Heracles ends up isolating them on an island he dug out for just that purpose, then kills Diomedes and feeds him to the horses to calm them down. This chills them out enough that it's easy.
Okay, he just randomly killed Diomedes. Well, that happened. Kind of surprised the guy was still around long enough for that.
Easy for him to bring them back. Trial number 9 is to retrieve.
Go retrieve the girdle of Hippolyta. Wait, the dad's back? I thought I guess he did come back. Okay. Is this just a transparent attempt to get me laid, dude? That would actually work, but...
Retrieve the girdle of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons. Fortunately, Heracles being Heracles, this isn't too hard, as Hippolyta takes one look at him and quite willingly drops her clothes. However, Hera decides this...
Oh, come on! Can I keep this? Sure thing, babe. Also, I thought Hippolyta was the one who died at Troy. I'm probably getting that completely wrong.
This isn't too hard, as Hippolyta takes one look at him and quite willingly drops her clothes. However, Hera decides this was too
Hera's
easy
not
and
liking
spreads
it.
a rumor among the
Everyone, Heracles is totally kidnapping our queen. We instantly believe you. Let's murder him. Yeah, it's even more obvious now in normal clothes without that. She is very much a Karen. That is so obvious in hindsight.
Amazons that Heracles intends to kidnap their queen. They dogpile on him, and in the chaos, Heracles kills Hippolyta for some reason and bails with the girdle.
Okay, yep, definitely had it confused with someone else. It's definitely not. Sorry, Hippolyta. It's cool. Pretty sure I have to be alive to marry Theseus later anyway. Oh, really? I actually wasn't aware of that part.
Mission 10 is to steal the catalyst.
He's just hiding in a blanket. I like to see you seduce your way out of this one. Geryon doesn't really seem like my type.
Bulgarian. Unfortunately, he lives on the other side of a stupid hot desert, and Heracles gets so grumpy and overheated that he fires
Would that be
an arrow
Egypt?
at the sun. Fortunately, Helios finds this charming rather than intimidating, and loans Heracles.
I'm sorry, what? He fired an arrow at the sun?
An arrow at the
Whoa.
sun. Fortunately,
Someone's cranky. My kingdom for a juice box. Actually, a juice box sounds really nice right now.
Helios finds this charming rather than intimidating, and loans Heracles his sun chariot to get him there faster. So Heracles touches down on Airier, whereupon he's attacked by Orthus, the two-headed dog, who he kills. Then Everytia...
Wait, there actually is a two-headed dog named Orthus? Oh, I thought that was just something fan-made because Cerberus was more famous. And random guy who's definitely going to die right away.
The cattle herd hears the commotion and comes by to help, and gets killed too. Finally, Geryon comes out in full battle armor and is, you guessed it, killed. So Heracles scoots back with the...
He was a three-armed guy. Or actually, three head, three torso. No, one torso, just really wide. Well, he had two sets of arms, though, didn't he?
Finally, Geryon...
Oh, no. 4 arms. That is incredibly awkward.
Comes out in full battle armor and is, you guessed it, killed. So Heracles scoots back with the cattle after taking an extra year to round them all up because Hera thought it'd be funny to send a gadfly to spook him. Eurystheus then sacrifices the cattle to Hera, which does nothing to soothe her nerves. Trial number...
Ah. Who's cooking beef? No one important.
Trial number 11 is to retrieve...
Go get some golden apples from the Garden of Hesperides? I don't know where that is. Well, that sounds like a you problem. Why is this guy still on the throne? I thought he was thrown out. I guess he just came back.
Apples from the Garden of the Hesperides, which is complicated somewhat by the fact that the location of the garden is a secret. So Heracles wrestles the location out of Nereus, the old man of the sea, and heads off. On the way, he runs into this dude Antaeus, who's immortal, but...
Oh, I've heard about this guy. He has a really cool bit of lore. The entire clay feet thing, where he can't be beat. He's the strongest as long as his feet are on the ground. Pick him up off the ground, not a thing.
Only so long as he's touching the earth. He challenges Heracles to a wrestling match, and when Heracles realizes he can't beat him by pinning him, he just picks him up and crushes him. Anyway, so Heracles reaches the Garden of the Hesperides, but he can't get the apples because the tree is guarded by this big dragony thing named Lad.
See, this is one of those times where I'm like, this looks so much like the mythology from the Nordic side. Nightahog guarding the apples. And I'm pretty sure there's golden apples or something about apples in the Nordic myths, or I guess the more Norse myths. If there's not some cross-pollination here, I would be so surprised because I wish there was more source material, but especially for the Norse stuff, that doesn't exist. So I wish I knew how these stories came about. It drives me crazy because I want to see where different ideas came from, what kind of stories were kicking around, what got combined. It's like looking at Undertale and judging it by all the AUs and having no idea there was actually a game by that name.
On. Fortunately, nearby is the Titan Atlas, busily holding up the sky. So Heracles is like, hey buddy, hey, yeah, want to do me a solid and grab me some apples? And Atlas is like, sure dude, but you'll need to carry this. Sky ain't gonna hold itself up, you know? So Heracles tags in and holds up the sky while Atlas scoots over to the tree and picks some apples. So Heracles is like, yo, thanks man, hey, can you tag back in? And Atlas is like, you know, actually, how about you just tell me where to take these, and I deliver your apples for you? So Heracles is like, oh man, that...
What did that say right there? Danger? It just says danger, danger, danger. At that point, just let it fall. It's not your trial.
Is like, oh man, that just sounds great, but you know, my cape's getting really uncomfortable. Could you like tag in for a second so I can adjust it and then we'll swap back out? And Atlas is like, what could go wrong? And takes back his guy, at which point Heracles obviously bails. For his 12th and final labor.
All right, cousin, for your final task, I'm sending you straight to Hades. Sounds festive. You know what? People keep saying going to Hades is such a horrible place, but frankly, it only goes bad for the people who fuck it up themselves. Nothing is going to be as bad there as what you do to yourself. Oh, yeah. That's usually the stumbling point, huh? Because of the hubris part. Yeah, actually, never mind. I get why that's the hardest challenge.
Eurystheus straight up tells Heracles to go to hell and kidnap Cerberus. So Heracles traipses down to Hades, whereupon he bumps into Theseus and Pirithous, still
Oh, yep, that's how that's happened. Turns out hubris sucks. Yes, you, a little help, you stay. Theseus and Pirithous were punished by Hades for attempting to kidnap Persephone and have her marry Pirithous, and Theseus was just helping. Yeah, but apparently Hippolyta marries Theseus? That I'm actually a little surprised about. I had no idea. Also, I guess she got better.
fused to their chairs. They ask him for help, so Heracles frees Theseus, but when he tries for Pirithous, there's a huge earthquake, which he takes as a sign that he should probably...
Yeah.
So Heracles heads deeper...
Oh, what did that say? Ooh, I'm no expert on omens, but that sure feels like one. Yeah.
As for Pirithous, there's a huge earthquake, which he takes as a sign that he should probably leave him there. So Heracles heads deeper into the underworld.
What are they
and
feeding you?
Cerberus, along with Hades, who asks him what exactly he thinks he's doing. So
Can I borrow a spot? I still love the Cerberus. Actually, just means spot. I'm sorry. I'm always going to point that out because it's literally one of the funniest things ever. I need to take your dog. Okay, no weapons, and I'll allow you to try. No weapons? Oh, so the dog doesn't die.
So Heracles tells him he's here to kidnap his dog, and Hades tells him, okay, but he can't use any weapons to do it, which Heracles is fine with.
Sweet!
Because, again,
This may have been a mistake.
So he bear hugs one of Cerberus' heads until he gives in, and I guess Hades objects or something?
Tally-ho,
Most
beast!
The story involves Heracles shooting him for some reason. So Heracles drags Cerberus out...
Ta-da! Also, he just shot him? I'm honestly more surprised Persephone doesn't come in here and fuck him up even harder. She is way more terrifying sometimes than Hades.
To Eurystheus, who is unsurprisingly so terrified that he demands Heracles return him immediately. So
Yeah.
Heracles carries Cerberus...
Oh my god, he's just in... Hades, my man, I'm done with your dog. Just look at the... Oh my god, that's adorable. Like the one who's just all, I don't like this. He's curious and he's like, oh, puppy. And yeah, he shot Hades and Persephone's just nursing him. Oh my god, this is so cute.
Back to Hades and goes on his merry way, finally freed
12 tasks, freedom restored.
Now, Heracles' story doesn't end with his labors. He has all kind of hijinks, frankly, too many to list here. A lot of those
Oh?
hijinks were romantic. He was married 4 times, his third wife being the one to kill him. And one noteworthy thing is that
Wait, the third wife? Did he come back? Because he had a 4th wife after that. Or they probably got a 4th wife and then the 3rd wife came back and did it. That would make more sense. Also, this might be a weird thing to say, but it might just be the angle, but those the fingers look really short on this one. It's probably an angle, but it almost looks like a foot more than a hand.
Heracles, as a symbol of pure masculinity for Greece, had a lot of dude lovers too, because what's manlier
Yeah.
than 2 men? Apparently in Plutarch's time, it was customary for male couples to worship at the tomb of Iolus, who was widely considered to be Heracles' primary boyfriend, which is kind of sweet. But anyway, I kind of glossed over the fact that he died.
Wait, they actually have a tomb for one of the boyfriends? That's actually pretty cool. I mean, just because that would be a tomb from someone actually then recognized in physical locations. Doesn't usually happen with mythology.
Somewhere along the line. So let's talk about that.
Unless this is one of those things where it actually was a person it was based on, the myths just became more mythological over time. That would actually be really cool if that was the case. In which case, maybe there was actually a Hercules and this story just got really blown out of, well, into mythology at that point.
Heracles is on marriage number 3, and his wife is this lady Deianira. For those of you who know Greek, her name is a spoiler, as it translates to husband destroyer. So one day, the centaur Nessus decides to kidnap her, which Heracles obviously objects to. He shoots the centaur with one of his old hydroblood arrows, and the poison centaur tells Deianira...
He still has it? My blood is super magic. Oh shoot, really? Yeah, man. Totally. Martial aid? Oh, marital aid.
Airier that
What?
his blood can totally make a potion to keep her husband faithful should she ever need such a thing. He persuades her to bottle some of his blood and then dies. This becomes relevant several years later when Heracles falls in love with this other lady, Iole. Airier remembers the love potion thing, takes some of the blood, and smears it on the inside of one of Heracles' tunics, whereupon, because it's full of hydrogen,
But I never wear shirts. You'll be fine. What if my pecs can't breathe? Oh my god, they're actually going the shirtless meme with him.
and very, very poisonous, the blood melts into Heracles' body and seriously f***s him up. He's too tough for it to kill him, but
It melts into his body? Oh, they're going fantasy levels of poison where it's more of acid than anything. Also, I can't even read that because of the covering. It's this or never going shirtless again. Priorities.
really hurts, so he kinda decides to die anyway. Heracles throws himself into a funeral pyre and burns away his mortal half, becoming a pure god and ascending to Olympus in the process, whereupon he marries Hebe, the goddess of youth.
Oh, so that's how he gets the fourth wife. He dies. And goddess of youth, really. Yo, thanks, man. Bloof. Technically, he didn't even get killed by his third wife. He got killed by himself, thinking, nah, I'd rather go shirtless. I know it's because of the pain from the blood literally eating through him. Ooh. There are some nasty concoctions you can come up with chemistry, and they're all documented on YouTube somewhere if you know how to look, or if you're very unfortunate.
Half, becoming a pure god and ascending to Olympus in the process, whereupon he marries Hebe, the goddess of youth. Philoctetes, the guy who lit the pyre, gets gifted Heracles' poison arrows and later uses them to kill Paris in the Trojan War.
Oh! So this was pre-Troy. Wait, was I right about Hippolyta coming to Troy then for that little extra? I'm completely lost here. I have no idea what's going on. Also, how does it work out that Heracles and Hercules were both versions of a hero that would have been around previous to Troy, which is, from what a lot of people said, or is considered the birth of Rome. Survivors from Troy fled to the Italian peninsula. Not sure what it was called at the time. That must be really awkward. But again, mythologies are turned around so much, it probably doesn't actually come up that often.
So I guess some good came of all this. Hercules,
and that was Hercules from Overly Sarcastic Productions. I gotta say, though, that final bit that they covered in the aftertalk, which wasn't in the animated sections, about how there was an entire fight between the gods and the giants, and they started describing some of the shit going down. That was so cool. I wish... By any chance, did Red do a video later covering that? Because that sounds so cool, especially because her animations with all the Greek gods is really neat, and seeing them actually fighting, I want to see that. That sounds so cool. I really want that. I'm hoping someone in the comments tells me that this is the video name. We can find it here, because if there's not, I'm going to be a bit disappointed. I mean, there's a lot of good ones, so I won't, care too much, but it's like, oh, that's so nice. No. If there isn't, just pretend you forgot the title, and I can definitely find it if I look, because I'll be too lazy to look, so I'll definitely believe it's out there, and it's just not me finding it, as opposed to it just not being there. I prefer that. Otherwise, though, I like this. I didn't realize there were so many stories. I thought Hercules was more or less, here's the 12 labors, here's his problems with Zeus. Well, yes, but also Hera. I didn't realize there was so much after the labors, though, prior to dying and becoming a full god. Which technically was in the Disney version. It's just he then came back and got with the lady he killed in the original mythology. Yeah. It's interesting, though, because this started with Red saying his issue was wrath, but a lot of his wrath wasn't really what got him screwed over. It was just, honestly, intentionally caused insanity by Hera and lust for someone after his third wife's like, no. Even she didn't mean to kill him. Still, though, I wasn't expecting Hercules to be the playboy hero. Was not expecting that, especially because FGO paints him as either the berserker who's protecting the child, and may or may not make Mandalorian references. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he should. I'm just saying it fits in my head, and I'm sticking to that for stupid reasons, which are usually most of my reasons. Or the Archer version, which I know absolutely nothing about, because Fake Strange is, from what I've heard, cool, and I don't know what I'm looking at yet. Kind of looking for it to come out, though. That sounds really neat. Yeah, well, hopefully it is. Maybe it's not bad. Fate has an interesting track record about videos, so it could go either way. More importantly, though, you guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. It's Overly Sarcastic Productions. You know it's good. I mean, we just watched it, went through it, had me geek out over it. I'm sure you're aware of that. Do it anyways, though. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.